views on different devices, so it might look different. We're not using any polls tonight, so don't worry about that. If we can move on, Philippe. We have got live transcript on. This is just to make the experience a bit better. So you can see, you might be able to see at the bottom that what I'm saying is being written into text. If you want to turn that off, you can easily do that. Just click on the transcript icon for those options. Cool. If we move on, Philippe. Great. So the session will be within the hour. We've got a presentation from Philippe from our competitions team. He's going to take you through what is an electronic match card, why do we use it, the benefits for you as a club, and then also a walkthrough of what to do, what it looks like, and then we'll have a chance for some Q&A at the end if you have any burning questions. We will endeavour to answer questions in the chat as we go along if you have any. If there aren't too many, we will pull them out at the end for the Q&A with Philippe. But without further ado, I will hand over to Philippe, who will take you through the session. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for attending this webinar this evening. So this is our running order for tonight. Like Ian said, so we'll go through what is the electronic match cards, why do we use it, benefits to clubs and players. Then there will be a walkthrough and some tips, and finally some questions and answers. So what is the electronic match cards? Essentially, the electronic match cards is a digital version of the old paper version of the match card. I can hear a bit of background noise, and hopefully it will stop. I think it's stopped now. Thank you. So what is the electronic match card? So it was introduced in 2016-17. Apologies, I don't know what's happening.
Everyone's keep their mics on mute, please. Thank you.
Hello?
Much better.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Wow, that was intense. Apologies for that, everyone. I don't know why we had that, but anyway, I'll move on. So the electronic match card, it was introduced in 2016-17. It's mandatory for all RFU league competitions, both men and women, but it's also available for other non-RFU adult competitions. We also use it for some age grade competitions, which is great. It's a method of inputting results, and it updates league tables instantly. It's integrated with the GMS system. With the GMS, it allows reporting and tracking of team lineups, and it allows for player tracking and team statistics. It also allows to export some reports and track disciplinary instances. And why do we use the electronic match cards? When I say we, I'm referring to us as RFU as a governing body. Essentially, it's good practice to have one system, so one method of score collection and input. And this allows us to provide a better support to our clubs and also resources. There on the right, you can see an image of the portal, the help portal, which can help with any queries you may have around the electronic match card. But my colleague Amy will surely share the link to that with you this evening. It also allows for an easier and more comprehensive reporting, which therefore enables a more in-depth and accurate research to take place. So there on the right, you can see an image of an actual report that clubs can export from the GMS. And this is due to the electronic match card. Basically, all the data is saved in the cloud, and clubs are able to access data relevant to them. In this case, you can see, how many minutes players have played, number of matches, wins and losses, and so on. Obviously, in terms of minutes players have played, this requires adding events on the electronic match card. So essentially, adding substitutions and so on. But we'll get there further along the presentation. We'll talk about that. So this, the electronic match card allows to track players' journeys and identify trends. And this helps to create a better understanding of the playing landscape and also provide, a better player experience, hopefully, to our players. It provides information such as match events, which I mentioned before. And if these are inputted, it can help to create online content that can be used to put the spotlights on the community game. And now moving on to club benefits. So what are the benefits to you as a club? So essentially, you as a club will also be able to run reports based on the information that has been input onto GMS, onto the electronic match card. It's quickly to check player appearances, minutes, and points scored. And also you will be able to track player usage. So see, how many matches a player has played and so on. Just there on the right, you can see an example, of a player, and you can see, the appearances there on the top, and so on. Tries scored, discipline, and so on. Moving on, it gives clubs the information that can be accessed by multiple people in the club in an easy and simple way. This is a new feature that we have, which is suspected concussion function. So this is input on the results part of the electronic match card, which I'll show you further along in this presentation. But essentially, if you complete that and if you tick the yes there on the suspected concussion, when you submit it, it will basically send an email out to the player in question and to the rugby safe lead at the club, and it will provide some information about how to manage that injury and how to get well soon. Also provides club statistics that are available on our website on englandrugby.com. So there's a button there that says stats. If you go to fixtures and results and look for your club, on the right-hand side, you'll see the stats there, and you'll be able to see the overall record and so on for the club. So this can be used for marketing or just keep track of wins and losses at the club. Finally, it's paperless. So, it's the way to go. We're all, concerned about our environments. And so it's definitely a plus there, which is a benefit for all of us. So rather than having the paper match cards. I'll now move on to the benefits for the player. And so players will be able to check their statistics across different seasons. So everything is logged on the database. It's saved, and so it will be to keep the history, if you want, of a player, which can be interesting and curious to look at and to see. It allows the opportunity to put the player's name in lights. So there in this image on the right, you can see, top try scorers, for instance, and this, it's always healthy to have a bit of healthy competition. And, players will be able to share achievements if they like from englandrugby.com onto social media. They can compare themselves against others, and that can be either at the club, only at the club, or within their league, or actually at a national level. A clubber a player will be able to receive personalized emails based on their performance, like that image there on the right. This is, we kind of did a pilot on this, but I think, it's definitely something that can feature and be a positive as a player benefit. But again, in order to have all these, nice stats and so on, these require someone to input them on the system. And then that's the match events, which, are not mandatory apart from levels 3 and 4, which are currently called at national level. Finally, as I mentioned before, that suspected concussion feature. Again, this is a positive benefit for the player to get information on that. So now that we've spoken about the benefits, I'll now show you how it operates, how it all works. So I'll just show you initially how to set up people to be able to be a match card administrator. And I'll just show you some steps on how to assign players to a playing squad. And then I'll show you some videos on how to operate the electronic match card. So essentially, first of all, it's 2 steps that are required within a club, and that's to, have the match card administrators ready to do their work in terms of the electronic match cards. And you can have as many as you like match card administrators. And so what they need is to be given level 1, level 3, or level 5 permission on GMS. Also, they need the match card administrator role given to them on GMS. And this is done by the club honorary secretary or data officer or anyone with level 5 permissions at the club. So if you're keen to, and surely if you're attending this is because you'll probably help out with this area. So please, if you haven't got these requirements, please get in touch with one of these people at your club. Number 2 there, step number 2, someone at the club must assign players to the playing squad. I'll show you how to do this in a minute, but essentially, the players are on the system on GMS, but they will need to be assigned to the playing squad, because this is where the electronic match cards will draw the players from when you are inputting your matchday squad. Also, players must be effectively registered or affiliated as required. So now moving on, this is just to show you how to assign players to your team. So log on to your GMS account, go to the top left-hand side of your screen and click on the menu tiles, and then you need to select team management as shown here. So that's team management. Once you are within team management, go to all club players. This will provide a list of all the club players, as it says there, of course. And then what you need to do is really tick the names of the players that are not assigned. And to do that, you need to find the players on that list, which can be a long list. But here on the top right, there is a button there that says filters. If you click on that, this arrow here, so filters, this will appear after you've clicked that plus button. So when you click on filters, this will open up. And then if you click that plus button, you will be able to filter by, wherever you wish. Once you have your list, you just tick those players and then click on this button here on the top right, assign to team. It's easy as that. Now, in terms of how the actual, so just before I progress, in terms of, so those steps I mentioned before, they normally only need to be done, in the beginning of the season. So it's kind of a one-off thing to do. But, eventually, if a player enters your team mid-season, you will still need to go onto GMS and assign that player to your team. Otherwise, he won't appear on the list for the electronic match card. So moving on, how does it work now in terms of the actual electronic match cards, and how is it processed? So essentially, it's a three-step process. So the first step is pre-match, and what you need to do is set up your match day squad. So essentially, you just need to type in the names of the players that will be in your squad. So this can be done, well, ideally as soon as you know the squad, but if you are unsure about one or another player, you can always, complete what you know, and then on the day you can do changes if required, as long as it's before kickoff. So then post-match, you have step 2 and 3. So these steps 1, 2, 3 are all mandatory. So step 2 will be to post the match result. I'll show you how to do all this in a minute. So post the match results, we advise to confirm the result with the referee and with your opposition, as well as the number of tries scored because of bonus points, obviously. Final step there is to submit the electronic match card, but I'll show you how to do that next. What I mentioned before, all those nice stats that I showed you. So this will be in the electronic match card on the match events tab. This is not mandatory apart from at National League level. So it's an extra step, but we feel it's something that has value in it, and that's why we are trying to incentivize it. So that's up to you if you wish to do that or not. So I'll now move on, and I have a couple of videos to show you how it actually works in practice. So basically this has been filmed before, and I'll just talk you through the video. So essentially, the first thing is to log on to your GMS account and click on match cards, and you'll have a list of all the fixtures, and you can use these filters here at the top to go, by dates and so on, to go to the specific match that you wish to input data for your electronic match card. So I'll now start the video and I'll talk you through it. Is it moving? Yes. So this is just dummy teams, but so to get into it, you just click one of the teams there in red. You'll get into the summary, which has some bits of information, produce match card inclusive. If you are the home team, just click on home team. You will then have the match card there at the bottom, but you can use actually information from previous matches. If you have a team sheet from a previous match, you can use that. If not, you just type in the names of the players like is shown on the video. It will actually auto-complete, well, not auto-complete, but it will automatically show you some names there. And you just need to save once it's all completed. So you save like so. Obviously, you need to do it for all the players. If you are the away team, you just need to click on away team and then do the same as before. So just type in the names there. It will show you, you click it, shows a few names. And then save at the end. I'm just going to pause just to show you. So these tabs here, when you're in this page, you won't see all of them. I can see all of them because I want to show them to you, but also because I'm a super user. Lucky me. So anyway, but if you are the home team, you'll actually see, summary home team. You'll actually see away team, and you will be able to complete the away team sheet if you want to, but you're not meant to. But if they ask, if they say, "Oh, I really can't do it," you'll be able to help them out. But the contrary is not possible. So the away team will not be able to input the home team. Both teams need to be input in order for you to be able to put the match result. So that is a mandatory, those are mandatory fields. I'll now carry on. Just to add, match events will only appear after kickoff, this tab. and post-match and confirmation tabs will only appear after the match is finished. So we'll carry on there. So going to match events, which we've spoke about. So it's just a question of going to event type. You can select their substitution, for instance, select the team, input the minutes if you want. So here the asterisks, where the red asterisk is the mandatory fields. The others are not mandatory. And then the reason for the substitution, tactical off, and then add event there. Okay, perfect. So that event has been added, as you can see here. I'll show you another example. So scoring, just select the team, score type, what is it, who scored, and then if you want when it was scored, enter the minutes there. So the stars is what's mandatory. Add event. Okay. And that will show then in your screen. So this can be done at a late, on the Sunday if you want. So going now to, so match events is not mandatory, as I say, for, regional and counties levels, but it's something that we really would like you to do to add value. So post-match is done after the match has finished. You go and you just need to go to match results, select result. If it's a walkover, we ask you to contact your league secretary and don't do anything here on the electronic match card. So just put either result or abandoned. And then if in case of abandonment, just input the score at the time of abandonment. So you just select the result there, and then you just need to complete the full-time result there and try scored. The other bits of information, if you wish, you can complete, but they're not essential. Try scored is important because of bonus points, as mentioned before. So once you've completed that, here's the suspected concussion, which was mentioned before. So if there's a suspected concussion, please just tick the yes there, and then select the player that had that situation, add player, and then tick that box there. And that's, if you scroll down, that's been inputted, and then just put submit score. So once that's done, what will happen is an email will have been sent to the player in question and to the rugby safe lead in the club, and the results of the match will be automatically updated on englandrugby.com, as well as the league table. So it's time stamped when you put submit result, and you can see the name. Final step is the confirmation. So just need to tick the yes there, home team completed. This is up to the home team, and then submit match card. Okay, and that's done. That's what it is, those 3 steps. And yeah, that's finished. So essentially you will receive a PDF, so an email with a PDF of the match card, and your league secretary will receive the same. So now I'm going to move on to the mobile version of the electronic match card. So essentially the mobile version is the same thing, but it just looks different, sort of thing. So this is not an app, but it's been mobile enhanced. So it's very quick on your mobile phone or tablet. And essentially you just need to go to your web browser and type in the address as appears here on the screen. And then it will take you, you just need to log in. And once you've logged in to the GMS electronic match card, this is the screen you'll see. So essentially this is all dummy teams, but you would see probably your teams within your club there. So I'm going to start the video and essentially show you how to operate the mobile version. So if you just select the team you're want to input the information on, and then you have their upcoming, future, and past matches. For this case, I'm just going to go past because for the example, it's just how it's easiest. And this will show you, essentially, I'm just going to pause it there. It will show you, pretty similar to the desktop version. So it's a summary sheet, and this would be the home team. The Invincibles here would be here the away team, and then match events here, score and confirmation. Again, these wouldn't all be visible before the match. Before the match, you would only have, home team and away team. During the match, you would have events tab there, and post match, the home team, you'll be able to see the score and confirmation tabs. Essentially, in the mobile version, you just need to, on the top right-hand side, so go to home team there, top right-hand side there, the plus button, find the player. So it's all pretty much going to that plus button. Type in the name of the player, select the player, and then select his position on the right. So like so, and then select the position. So these players were chosen as props, and then done. There at the bottom, done. And now they will show on my squad list. So here they are, James Bond and James May as props. So you would need to do this for all your team members, so all the players. The same for the away team. So this would be the Invincibles here. So select the position you wish to input, go to the top right, the plus button, find the player, select the player, and then select the position of that player, and then click done. And that will then show on the playing squad there. So during the match, you can add events if you want, or post-match if you want, you can do that. So not mandatory again to regional and counties. But this is how you do it. It's also on the plus button on the right, and it will appear, and it's drop down boxes, and you just need to select the different information. If you want to input the minutes, and then submit, bottom left. And here we are, James May has scored a try. This is another event that we went there to the top, the plus button, and this is a technical yellow card. So basically, you just need to select what event it was and go from there. So it's drop down boxes. Add, and it will be added. Now the score. So go to score, select result type, full-time results, and try scored. And then submit score at the bottom. There's uncontested scrums there as well. And then, so this is that second step, right? And the final step will be the confirmation. Click confirmation, and it's easy as ticking that box over there and submit match card. And that's done. Essentially, you have that big green tick there. It's time stamped and the name stamped as well. And so this match card has been submitted. And I will get an email with this match card on PDF. And the league secretary will also get that information. And so just some quick tips as a wrap up, really. So if you wish to get back to this webinar, it will be available on YouTube. You are welcome to share it with whoever you think may need it. There's guides on the Club Support Center that my colleague Amy will share the link with you. And finally, if you can't find information that you're looking for in the Club Support Center, just log a ticket on the help portal for any queries to Club Support if the answer is not found, as I mentioned. So as a summary, so it's good to have just one system, and a system that makes things automatic and well, in a way, when you input the result of your match, it automatically goes onto englandrugby.com, our website. It enables clubs to have access to information that can help, with player management, coaching decisions even, and also marketing. It gives players the chance to show off their achievements and check their stats. Finally, please utilize the guides as mentioned in Club Support Center, and as mentioned, submit the ticket if you can't find the information you're looking for. That's it in terms of what I had to present. I'm now going to stop sharing and I'll hand over to Ian.
Cheers, Philippe. Thanks for that presentation. I hope you guys on here found that very informative. Just to clarify that we will put this session on YouTube. You can pause it, you can stop it, you can play it back, you can share it, so that everyone that you need to see it can see the answers and see what to do. Because appreciate sometimes if you're concentrating on a question in the chat, you might not have seen what Philippe or heard what Philippe said fully. So yeah, good to have a look at that after. We'll send that all out after. Any questions that we can't answer here right now on the call, we'll also answer and send out in a follow-up, which will be in the next few days. All right, so there has been some good questions come in, and I'm gonna pull some of them out for tonight for you, Philippe. First one is, and excuse me, I don't have all the names. I've just so apologies if I've got the name, but the first one is, does the level of match information that you have to input differ dependent on the level of games, Philippe?
Yes, essentially, at national level, which used to be called levels 3 and 4, it's mandatory for those teams to input all the match events. And for lower levels than that, so what used to be called levels 5 and below, currently called regional and counties, those match events are not mandatory. So you will do them if you want, but they are not mandatory. So that's, I think, the biggest difference that we have in terms of information. But obviously, besides that, national leagues match cards will be very thorough. They all the substitutions, yellow cards, everything will be on that match card. At a lower level, it will be less information that you have on the match card.
Cheers, Philippe. Next one is, so if the away, as a question, I'm reading word for word, if the away team don't enter their information, the home team can't submit the card. Is that true?
That is true. That is how the logic on GMS has been set up. So essentially, we are saying, it's mandatory for the home team and the away team to input their teams. If they don't, you won't be able, if one of them doesn't, you won't be able to put the score. But it's a good question. Hopefully that won't happen, and there will be, hopefully everyone will comply and input their match day squad before kickoff. But if the away team doesn't contact the home team just to say, hopefully it will only be an extreme situation or something that didn't allow them to do so, then maybe the home team can help and and put that information for them. But it shouldn't be necessary. And if that's the case, then maybe they will need to, as a home team, maybe you'll need to flag it to your league secretary and then go from there.
Nice one. Thanks for that question, Hrivasa. The next one is there a specific time, Philippe, that the information has to be put on GMS after the game? A couple of questions coming in around that.
Good question. In general, well, the answer is yes, but it will depend on your league, and that will depend on what your regional organizing committee which was previously known as Divisional Organizing Committee. Now it's Regional Organizing Committee, what they've decided. So you just need to be aware of that information. But as a general rule, I would say in terms of the input of the result, I think it's by around 5 p.m. on the day of the match, 5:30, and the match cards a bit longer. I don't know if it's, maybe the Sunday, but something like that. But yeah, definitely you need to see the information that your ROC has sent to you. Hope this answers your question.
Thanks, Philippe. Does the match card need to be approved by the referee?
Good question. At higher levels, like professional levels, like Premiership and Championship, and even I think national leagues, we use like a pin and so on, where the referee does need to put their pin and approve the match card. But this doesn't happen for again, regional and counties levels, which is the old level 5 and below. I'm not sure about levels 3 and 4 if the referee needs to put their pin, but yeah, for levels, what used to be called as levels 5 and below, currently called regional and counties, it's not mandatory for the referee to sign the card off. What we would advise is, so basically it's up to the home team to do that work. What we would advise is for the the person in charge of the electronic match card just to check with their opposition and with the referee ideally. I know it's sometimes difficult because the referees sometimes go very quickly after the match finishes, but if you can't find the referee, just check in with your opposition team manager and just say, this is the result I have, this is the number of tries, do you agree? Just to make sure everyone's happy. And then once you've had that quick conversation, then you're good to input that information, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks, Philippe. And just on that lower level games theme, do the volunteers need to add discipline, so red or yellow cards? Is that optional or is that mandatory?
It's a good question. I think, well, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think I would suggest confirming with your league secretary, because it may differ from regional organizing committee from one to another. I think it's definitely information that needs to be recorded, but how it is recorded, I'm unsure, because match events are not mandatory, as I said. So it's just how do you get this information to your league secretary? That's something to check with them, I would suggest. Yes.
Yeah, good. Good to check with your league secretary, guys, and find out who that is if you don't know who it is from your CB, your constituent body that you sit in, and that's definitely worth a check for you guys, because it will differ across the country for different leagues and competitions. Cool. Another one coming, Philippe, is how long before kickoff can you change the match card? As in team squad, I think that was related to.
No, it's both correct. You can, you can do it, 1 minute before kickoff if you're quick, but ideally we want to avoid that, right? And ideally that wouldn't happen, but in an extreme case, potentially, a player could get injured, in the warm-up, and you could still change it before kickoff time. So the time that the match has been set up for, you could still change your match day squad. Eventually, if you can't do it because you're busy or there's too much going on pre-match, don't worry about it, because it's okay. You can just get in touch with your league secretary and just say, listen, this happened pre-match. It was a last-minute situation. I wasn't able to update the match card. Is it okay to update it now? And you can, as long as the league secretary is aware, we can make changes post-match even to reflect what happened on the day. Thank you.
Cheers, Philippe. And lots of great questions, and hopefully really, really helpful. I'm trying to get through as many as we can. We've got plenty of time, so hopefully we'll cover more. Does electronic match card, does the copy of the match card only go to the home team, Philippe?
Good question. I think it goes to both teams. It will go to the email addresses that are included. It's basically, there's some settings on the electronic match card, and I think, if you are an electronic match card administrator, you would get the match card either if you're the home or the away team, and the league secretary would get a copy as well. Just to say, but if you don't, there's an option there on the summary tab. Either team or an electronic match card administrator can do this. Go to the summary screen, scroll down, and there's a red button that says produce match report, and you can then, if you click that, it will produce a PDF of the match.
Cheers, Philippe, and thanks for that question. Does EMC need to be, there's a question coming in, does electronic match card need to be used for all under 18 boys games?
No, this is a new thing we are doing. Essentially, we've used the electronic match card last season for Girls Cup, both at under 18s and under 15s levels. It worked well, so we are now this season rolling it out for the under 18s Cup competition. But that's the leagues that we know have electronic match cards. But also then it's just a question of, in your league, what is the league secretary doing? Because sometimes they may have asked, oh, can we use electronic match cards? And if that's the case, then you'll need to complete them if they are being used in your league. But it's not a blanket situation there. So I would advise to check with your league secretary about how it works at under 18s level for your league. Thank you.
Thanks, Philippe. And the next question here was around what happens if you make a mistake on the match card that you only notice after you have submitted it?
I think, yeah, good question. I mean, if the mistakes happen, we are all human, and it's not the end of the world. You just if say you're the opposition and you notice you scored 4 tries and the home team only put 3 tries, so you just contact your league secretary, explain the situation, what the mistake is, or even if it was you and you noticed your own mistake, just contact your league secretary and explain what happened, and it won't be a big problem. We can edit the match card, even post-match and even at a later stage. No problems there. I think the key thing is just to, inform your league secretary about it, and he will be able to help with that.
Thanks.
To put things correct, to amend it and correct things. Thank you.
And linked to who needs to do it, this all obviously depends as well, but there's a couple of questions around, is electronic match card needed for CB games or county games, or developing player program or anything along those lines?
Good question. And unfortunately, it's not possible to use electronic match card for county games, for CB games. That's because of how it works in terms of player eligibility and so on. So everything that's behind on the system, it's tricky to make it work. It's definitely something that we're looking into, but it's just kind of weighing up the benefit from that, because it's not that many matches that are played, and the work and the cost of doing all that IT work behind the curve, on the system to make that possible. So yeah, no, the answer is no at CB level or counties. In terms of the other kind of competitive matches, I don't think so, but it will probably, depend. Maybe some competitions will have it at higher level. I think, for instance, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure now, but yeah. For schools, we can't, use match cards either, just because of the players are not, registered in the same way as they are in a club. So again, it's something that we are looking at, but again, weighing up the cost and benefit to do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Philippe. Okay, so just having a quick look through the next couple. So one from Steve. He's asking if he wants electronic match card to pull players from GMS to the match card, does the category in GMS affect which team I can allocate them to, or can I just select any affiliated player into any team?
Good question. So essentially, one player can be assigned to different teams. So I could actually be, on the first 15, second 15, third 15. So the same player can be assigned to all those teams. And in the limits, you could assign all your players within your club to all the teams. So, but that wouldn't be ideal probably from a system kind of load kind of thing, but you could do it, I think. But so in answer to your question, yeah, you just need to make sure that you assign the players to those teams, if that makes sense. If they are assigned, to those teams, then you're good. They will appear there. Yeah, just on the back of that, just saying, there used to be a registration limit for clubs in terms of registered players, which was 100, but I've been informed that that limit doesn't exist anymore. Essentially, because of the new structure of the competitions, which now allows second 15s and so on. So now clubs are able to have more than 100 registered players in the club. Yeah, I hope this answered your question, Steve. Thank you.
Cool, thank you, guys. I think that is there's one from Stuart here. At certain levels, unregistered players are allowed. How do these get inputted onto the match card?
That's a good question. There's a change there. So we used to have non-registered players, and actually the electronic match card would flag that out if you selected a player that was not registered. But currently that's not the case. So if a player is not registered, it will be a blank. He won't be able to be added to the electronic match card. And I know there are leagues where unregistered players are allowed. If that's the case, and if you haven't done anything of what we discussed about, affiliating players, we didn't speak about the affiliated players, but about assigning players. If you didn't do anything about that, I would just say leave it blank. But my advice would be so basically now we have registered players at the club and we have affiliated players at the club. Affiliated players can be selected within the electronic match card. So I'll just advise, if possible, if that player that's not registered, if he could just affiliate, which is a simpler process, just get affiliated within the club and then you'll be able to include them. So my advice would be to do that, because then it will be recorded, properly. Thank you.
Cheers, Philippe. I just got time for a couple more questions that just come in. I don't, someone's put in, I don't think we could assign all players to all teams last year. We had to allocate a player to each team. Has this changed? Not sure.
It's a good question, but I think maybe it has changed, but you know, to my knowledge, you are able to do that. You can, you know, add a player to as many teams as you like within your club. You know, I understand, you know, there's some concerns around, you know, now with the new competition structure about players moving from one team to another and so on. But, you know, the league secretaries will be keeping an eye on that in terms of where players are playing. Yeah, so, and, you know, also hopefully teams also, you know, if something needs to be flagged, hopefully they'll do that as well. Because now with the electronic match card also you can have reports of, you know, where a player has been playing. So that helps us to, you know, keep people straight there, hopefully. I'm sorry, I didn't totally answer your question, but yeah, I think definitely you can add a player to different teams and, you know, different players to different teams. Thank you.
Excellent. And one final question that's come in, and we'll end on this question, guys. Could I ask when will the recording of this webinar be available? So as soon as it's up, it'll be available latest Monday next week. We've got a couple of colleagues away on leave, etc. And I will endeavour to get it up by Monday next week. And I will you will all receive an email. So you'll all receive an email with a link to the recording, and we will double check that we've answered everything off of the questions. And if there has been any that we have not been able to answer this evening, then we will follow that up in that comms that goes out to you. So really want to thank you all for lots of brilliant questions. Hopefully that will help not only you guys, but also anyone who's watching right now on YouTube. Big thank you to Philippe for hosting and delivering and for the knowledge. And thank you all for attending. I hope you have a great evening, and I hope you're all looking forward to the start of the season. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ian, and thanks, Amy, as well.